Greetings, Pastor Paul Lutz here. This may be TMI, but one of the selling features for me of a home is the view when you're standing at the kitchen sink. Now, I readily admit I'm not the only one who does dishes, but I am one of the ones. And although I am sitting on our deck, this is the view from our kitchen window in our home in beautiful Brookfield, Connecticut. I like the outdoors. To look at it, to walk in it, to experience the seasons. I'm more of an ocean person than a mountain person, but you get the point. Why the view? It encourages me. It reminds me of God's good creation, God's generosity, and that I am part of something bigger, God's magnificent reign. Welcome to our video storytelling series with the theme, Encouraging One Another. The words are from St. Paul in his letter to the Christians at Thessalonica. He writes, encourage one another, build each other up. We do a lot of that at Prince of Peace, Brookfield, Connecticut. So we thought it would be fun to share a couple of encouraging stories in this format to stir your imagination. We hope that you find them informative and encouraging for your spiritual journey.
Hello, my name is Nan Carlson, and I want to tell you the story of how we got started making masks for our hospital. I returned from a trip to Arizona and found out that our medical professional were not able to access the personal protective equipment that they needed to take care of people with COVID-19. Well, we found out that people were able to make masks. So I called Diane Morey and I said, Diane, do you think we could do this? And she said, yeah, I think we can. Well, I called Pastor and I said, I'd like to do this, and I want you to know that we want to give it to the hospital, this project. And he said, well, Monica Walsh is doing that. So I called Monica. Well, of course, Monica was well organized and had a band of women that were willing to sew and had lots of fabric, and they were mainly her neighbors. Well, we put the word out for Prince of Peace, and sure enough, we had people who were willing to sew and willing to donate fabric and willing to help us in every way. I also had neighbors who also volunteered and brought fabric. Well, sure enough, Marcy emailed me and Louise Riley emailed me, and all of a sudden I was just answering the phone and taking account of those people who wanted patterns and fabric to create masks and scrub caps. We found an enormous amount of excitement. It was really kind of fun. So what we did was start giving people fabric and patterns, and we sent away to Amazon and actually got elastic that was shipped directly from China for our masks. We found that there were certain elastics that were more comfortable than others. We also found that certain mask patterns were more comfortable. We started actually making scrub caps, and Tammy Weiner, our medical doctor who works in the emergency department, asked that we put buttons on the scrub caps. Now, the purpose of the buttons was to attach the elastic to the scrub cap so that the elastic did not go around the ear, which was very irritating, particularly when someone had to wear them for hours. We actually found people who didn't want to or couldn't sew masks and scrub caps, and they were just putting buttons on. And we were collecting buttons from all over, and we would have all of these scrub caps here and to be buttoned, and some were completed. And every week we brought hundreds of masks and scrub caps to church for pastor to bless before they were distributed to the hospitals. This project became such a wonderful experience. It was so much fun to know that we were doing something that was very helpful during the pandemic. It's very hard to be depressed and feel lonely when you're doing some nice things for other people. Well, what happened was we created probably more than 2,000 articles. Diane actually said that she made probably more than 1,000 herself, and I believe her because I would drop things off and I'd pick them up and it just seemed like she was just plugging away. This was a lovely experience for me as well as others. Well, Prince of Peace really gave me the most wonderful experience of my life, I think, right now. And it's my church. I was encouraged. It's my Lord. Thank you.
I served this church many years as a council member, a property chairman, and a youth leader. My wife is buried in our cemetery, as is my son-in-law. My 3 children all went through communion. My daughter was married here, and Prince of Peace influenced my son to become a Lutheran pastor. The ministry of Camp Calumet was well imbued in my children. It has stayed with them all their lives and made them defenders of the Christian faith.
Hello, Pastor Lutz here. One story of encouragement from Prince of Peace is how members and friends encourage one another on social media: Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, Messenger, websites, and more. Here's a note I received yesterday on Messenger. Thanks so much for the service again today. I couldn't believe how much I connected with it personally. This morning itself, I saw a flock of geese in V formation, and I am currently working on a large sign about change and the positives that can come from each one of them. Thanks again, smiley face. Encouragement from the writer to me, and encouragement from me to the writer. That's often how encouragement works, a two-way street. You're looking right now at a meme, and God said, I will send them without wings so no one suspects they are angels. Our 2 daughters have 3 dogs between them. Another daughter has a Savannah cat. We've come recently to feel encouraged by the presence of animals in our lives. Can celebrate that on Facebook. So a couple other examples is that Prince of Peace has its own Facebook. I know some of you are aware of that. If you're on Facebook, come and check us out. There you'll see a copy of it. It's full of sorts of all encouraging things. Signs you are loved from the confirmation class that had confirmation not too long ago. And as you scroll down, there are other things you'll notice. Our stewardship letter, apologies for the problem with the sermon video, and a fundraiser from Casey that I contributed to and share as a way of encouraging one another. And you'll see outdoor worship services and other posts that are happening. Sermon notes I posted with some of the responses from one of our confirmation students. Well received, encouragement for the student, encouragement for others as well as they think about how to listen to preaching and teaching. Two-way street. And then there is a Brookfield Leadership Prince of Peace webpage. It has about 25 members right now. It's a safe place to post questions, challenges about the church today, things that are happening. And then I posted my 1-year anniversary of installation at Prince of Peace and got lots of nice comments. I'll just share a few with you here. Seriously, 1 year? That's pre-COVID timeline. That's probably 10 years in COVID time. We're so lucky to have you. Congratulations, Pastor Paul. Congratulations, you're doing great work. Encouragement to me and encouragement from me. Two-way street. Also, there are prayers posted on Facebook itself. And I post prayers almost every day. I thought we could pray together this prayer here, hoping that you can see that well. Ever faithful God, open my heart toward others and toward you. Break down and melt within me all the resistance that I erect against others. Make me to be one heart and one mind with others in the body, generous in giving, glad in participation in anything that advances this marvelous work going on in the midst of a world drifting into darkness and emptiness and coldness. Thank you, Lord, for the warmth of your Spirit and for your power and your grace among your people. Amen. And if I gather prayers from other people, I always list the source where they're at so people can follow up if they'd like to know more about that. Also, prayers from other people we know. I have moved several times, and one way I stay in contact and encourage folks, and they encourage me, is through Facebook as a means of doing that. And hopefully you know we also have a website. And on the website, there is information that's encouraging for both people who are part of Prince of Peace and people who are looking to Prince of Peace. So learn a little bit more about the congregation. It's a wonderful evangelism tool. Has all of our worship services that are there, the virtual worship services that have been recorded. Has information about faith formation, Sunday school, confirmation, and adults. Other events and about giving. And our stewardship information is there as well. And once again, an encouragement to give online as a way to make it easier for both you and Prince of Peace. Encouragement going both ways. Well, thank you for listening. Thank you for being part of this particular encouraging story and the power of social ministry. If you're on Facebook, why not try to post one encouraging post today? See what the reaction is. There is a world out there in need of encouragement. In fact, it's God's world. I'll see you online. Thanks. Have a great day.
Hi, my name is Nicole Werner, and I'm happy to share my story of encouragement with you. My first time at Prince of Peace was back in high school during youth group. I joined to be with friends, but I didn't realize how much of an impact it would have on me. My time at Prince of Peace and places like Calumet are some of my most cherished memories. I may not have always been a part of a church growing up, but my experience at Prince of Peace was something that I didn't forget. I knew that as I grew up and had children of my own, it would be important for me to have a church that I felt comfortable to go to and comfortable bringing my family to. I also knew that it was going to be important to me to have a church that had a youth group that I could also have my boys do, because I loved that experience so much, and I feel like I learned so much from it. Hadn't been to Prince of Peace in a long time, but about 8 years ago, I started a job as a school nurse working with Monica Walsh. I knew Monica from youth group and from her family, but we became even closer friends working together. Monica has always encouraged me in pretty much everything, and definitely encouraged me in getting back into Prince of Peace. I always heard her over the years talking about Prince of Peace and all the great things that are happening here. As I had my boys and I was talking to her about wanting to get them baptized, she was always encouraging me and answering any questions that might have, and encouraging me to reach out to Pastor Lutz. I'm happy to say that they're both getting baptized at Prince of Peace at the end of the month, and couldn't be happier about that. I don't know what our future holds, but I hope that it includes more time at Prince of Peace, because it definitely brings me happiness and peace. And hopefully one day I can also encourage someone at Prince of Peace. Thanks.
Well, that was a few of our stories of encouragement from Prince of Peace Lutheran Church, beautiful Brookfield, Connecticut. As you might imagine, there are many, many other stories, but these were shared as encouragement for your spiritual journey, your walk with God. If you'd like to learn more about Prince of Peace Lutheran Church, Brookfield, Connecticut, please visit us on our website, Prince of Peace, Brookfield.org. Prince of Peace, Brookfield.org. We'd love to encourage you and build you up in your Christian journey. This is Pastor Paul saying thanks for watching. Go in peace. Be the encourager God created you to be. Thanks be to God.